implications for India, like you rightly mentioned, and also huge implication for the Middle East, for West Asia, for the Gulf as well, because like you rightly mentioned, desalinization, water scarcity is something that they will be facing if Iran also continues to retaliate with strikes on such desalinization plants. Let me introduce a piece of information coming in. Satellite imagery is now revealing the scale of damage at several key military sites across Iran, following recent strikes linked to the widening conflict. High resolution images show significant destruction at facilities, a drone base near Ahvaz, and military infrastructure around Isfahan. Now, the images indicate visible damage at the Isfahan International Airport, where several buildings and support structures appear to have been struck. Satellite comparisons taken before and after the strikes show structural destruction, burn marks, and debris scattered across the facility. These visuals reveal damaged buildings and infrastructure across an Iranian military garrison in Isfahan region as well, suggesting multiple strikes targeted operational facilities linked to Iran's drone and missile programs. So these strikes, these places have also been struck now. And apart from this, Hezbollah has now claimed multiple attacks on Israeli forces in southern Lebanon over the past few hours. In post shared, the group said that its fighters confronted Israeli troops who landed by helicopter in the Sargah plain. Hezbollah also said that it launched artillery and machine gun fire at Israeli forces advancing towards Khalat-e-Mahafir in the border town of Odessa, claiming that the troops were forced to retreat. The group further stated that its fighters carried out artillery strikes against Israeli forces moving towards the town of Etaron as clashes continue to intensify in the southern Lebanon border. Let me rope in Ambassador Kapoor. Ambassador, the situation is obviously grim. We are hearing and seeing satellite imagery of destruction that has been caused in Iran, and there are in fact now images proving that missile sites, drone sites, those production facilities have also been targeted, and we have in fact over the past few days seen a lesser intensity in the number of missiles and drones that Iran has been able to launch out. Apart from that, we are also seeing fighting on the southern border of Lebanon. So we have Hezbollah continuing its fight, pledging its allegiance to the new Iranian leadership as well. So Ambassador Kapoor, what I want to understand from you, according to your observation, is we have a new leader in place. We have Mujtaba Khamenei, who has been appointed. US has said we do not accept you. Do you believe that he will continue this fight? Hezbollah, they have pledged their allegiance. They said we will continue the fight and we will take revenge against our previous leader, and we will do it under the new leadership that has been in fact appointed.
Thank you, Shivani. You know, the new leadership will continue definitely for some time, some length of time. Israel and US will of course make an effort to again wipe out the new leadership till they have some leadership which is in sync with the US or Israel. So that game will continue. But what is also happening is that if your eyes have been taken out, the radar systems, for example, for US and for Israel to some extent, and if as Iran, you're sending out drones and missiles and decoys cost very little. So if you launch 100 such elements which are like 20 drones, 20 missiles and 60 decoys, the systems for surveillance get confused and they start firing at the wrong sort of objects also. So till you are able to cope with all that, Ukraine made some advances in terms of dealing with these Shahid drones which were coming from Russia in waves, and being able to deal with them or shoot them down even with human intervention by giving them a lot of training and new approaches, new paradigms they introduced in warfare, whereby they were somewhat successful in controlling the damage. So Israel and US will also have to learn from that. So it's a question ultimately of which side gets degraded faster. If the US and Israel sides get degraded faster, and if they start getting more and more sort of damages and attacks on their bases and more soldiers killed, then the pressure in their domestic constituencies will build up very significantly. Because in November, for example, is the midterm elections in the US. So before that, if they are not able to degrade the Iranian side faster in terms of knocking out the launchers for these drones and missiles and decoys, and making sure that a lot of these drones are destroyed on the ground before they take off, because a large number of them are in tunnels. So if you keep on, getting a few drones out of the tunnels and launching them continuously over an extended period of time, and if you keep on attacking the American bases in the Gulf Cooperation Council, like Qatar and Saudi and Oman and UAE and Bahrain and Kuwait, then what you are doing is you are also disrupting the entire global market for the aviation industry. Because currently no flights are flying out, very hardly any flight is flying out from the entire Middle East or flying into the Middle East. Whereas this is the major aviation hub of the world. So that has already been completely disrupted. And that will continue to be disrupted because no flights will have the capacity to really land there or take off from there. So you are creating a ripple effect on many sectors of the economy until one side or the other realizes now that it is time for them to stop. They may stop by declaring victory, and Trump can stop tomorrow and declare victory, or the Iranians can stop tomorrow and declare victory and say that we are not going to continue the fight. So at that stage, after some time, after the tensions cool down, then they may lead to negotiations, etc. But currently, both these sides are absolutely hell-bent on damaging the other side to the maximum extent possible, so that they, in the long term, the same thing does not happen again. For Israel and US, that Iran does not come up again to manufacture nuclear bombs or to support terrorism or to support Hezbollah. And similarly, for Iran, it's a question that US and Israel have sufficient backlash at home and sufficient curtailment of powers in the domestic arena so that they are not able to launch further attacks on Iran easily. Hezbollah going in and repelling this attack by Israel is to be expected, because if Israel is fighting a very major war with Iran, a lot of its energy and resources are directed towards that. A lot of it is getting knocked out. So if they are going to be attacking Hezbollah and in Lebanon at this point of time with ground troops, it is easier for Hezbollah to mount an attack, because you have to also realize that these countries are so fundamental that there's a continuous stream of recruits for their activities and terrorism. Thank you, Shivani.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much, Ambassador Kapoor and General, for speaking to NewsX and for taking out your time. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. We are wrapping up this bulletin.